Next on the agenda is the approval of the regular council meeting minutes of August 26, 2019. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the regular council meeting minutes of August 26, 2019 as presented.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion properly made to approve the minutes by Mr. Gillespie, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is receiving petitions and/or correspondence from the public. Ms. Berry, do we have anyone who wishes to address council?
Yes, Ms. Vasquez.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Fern Vasquez, and I live at 120 Gloucester Road.
Ms. Vasquez, before you begin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Approximately how much time do you feel you need?
Probably less than a minute.
Oh, that'd be fine. Go ahead.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. I try to abide by the guidelines
Sure.
here. And thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to present to you. So I'm here tonight to pose some questions and to suggest a possibility. If I'm mistaken regarding my information or assumptions, I would welcome clarification. I ask these questions hoping that someone from the council will address them and reach out to me in response. With that said, why does the demand for county growth outside the town limits appear to override the commitment to the needs of the town's citizens? And why would the council consider any proposal without first getting some answers to some basic questions? As you are already aware, discussions regarding the provision of water and sewer services to the Crooked Run 2 project leave more questions than answers, and it appears there is little community support for providing these expensive services to high-density residential development outside the town limits without annexation. My questions for this council regarding sensible planning are the following. Is there data by the Regional Planning Commission on the latest projections of water demand for this area through 2025, broken down by residential and commercial usage for both town and county? Does the town have enough water and sewer capacity to provide for the projected needs of the citizens and businesses for residential and commercial growth within the town limit without annexation? In keeping with that line of inquiry, has any council member questioned why supervisors may move forward when the town may not have the capacity to supply water and sewer services to a high-density residential development outside the town limits without annexation? If there is additional water capacity above the current usage, how much should be allocated for projected commercial growth versus high-density residential growth, first in the town and then for county usage? Does the council know projected water and sewer demand for the town broken down by residential and commercial growth forecasts based on available land? Since the citizens in the town will be paying for the construction of the extended services, has the council authorized a financial study to establish a return on investment or the break-even point at a minimum? Has any council member considered that if the supervisors approve the development before the town has done its due diligence, the supervisors may turn public opinion against the town by suggesting that the town is restricting economic growth? Proceeding with this high-density residential project appears challenged by unknown pitfalls, community resistance, financial reservation, and limited natural resources. Notwithstanding this discussion, I have an idea that I think would better serve our community moving forward, a program that we may all agree makes sense with little reservation. There is a growing trend in the development of the 55-plus retirement communities in areas outside but close to urban environments. Lake Frederick, right here in our backyard, is one that exemplifies this. When you analyze what these developments require, Front Royal has all the basics: quick access to convenient interstates, life-saving healthcare minutes away at our new hospital, available land such as Swan Farms and Happy Creek, a beautiful environment, and natural amenities. It is my recommendation that this council follow the outline of the mayor's vision committee and move quickly in forming a combined citizen business team to develop a plan that will identify and aggressively pursue the promotion of a job-creating 55-plus development. This would be real economic development. It sure sounds like a better plan than wasting both time and taxpayer money on a high-density residential development for the county. It's a win-win. I would be delighted to discuss with members of council how best to move forward on this project. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Vasquez, before you leave, ma'am, have you given a copy of that to Ms. Berry?
Yes, I emailed it to her.
Great. If you could just, I would like to get the list of questions. Well, just email the whole thing perhaps to us. But I know one thing, that there's some very good questions in there. And one, we usually don't get involved in a lot of dialogue, regrettably, during the public presentations. Mr. Waltz, we have a briefing coming up soon to talk about water capacity in the 522 corridor, don't we?
Yes, sir, Mayor. We've actually finally completed our analysis of what's available and what our limitations are on the corridor, as well as in corporate limits, and taking into account the 1,900 slated homes that are supposed to be in the corporate limits as well.
Thank you. When do you anticipate being able to brief council on that?
It looks like it'll be the 16th or the 23rd.
Of this month?
Of this month, excuse me, yes, sir,
So,
September.
Just so you know, there's been a lot of talk about this project, and we've been in the research stage. Town council has not taken a position one way or the other, and I think that's wise. We wanted to conduct our research, do our analysis, and we're going to get a briefing from staff on the dates that Mr. Walt suggested. That meeting's going to be open to the public, so please come to that, and at the same meeting, hopefully we can address some of these questions that you brought up.
Well, thank you.
Is that fair enough?
Sir. Fair enough.
Thanks. Ms. Berry, any other comments, or does the council have anything they wanted to say about that matter? Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Berry.
That was our only speaker.
Okay, does anyone else wish to address council on any matter? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to the report of special committees or town officials and the town manager. Mr. Waltz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One announcement, we're still working on water improvements on 14th and North Shenandoah. I'll be happy to say that we'll be finishing that up this week, and we have the paving contractor scheduled to come in. This will be night paving, but we have them scheduled for September 22nd. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll get paving and get this project completed. And that's my report for tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Waltz. We have Mr. Davis, Executive Director. Welcome. I think this is the first time I've met you.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, well,
Appreciate the opportunity to come before you this evening. I'm Brandon Davis, and for the benefit of those who don't yet know me or the organization that I represent, I'll take a brief moment to tell you who we are. I'm the Executive Director of the Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission. We're a small regional government that serves the communities in the Northern Shenandoah Valley. We're created, we're owned, and we're operated by those communities. And they created us to do those things that either make sense to do together or we can do more efficiently by doing them together. Examples are water supply planning, hazard mitigation, and the topic that I wanted to talk to you tonight about may be recycling. Recycling is an issue that persists in each of our communities as a challenge. Everyone provides the service to varying levels, so what we wind up with are multiple products in different stages of readiness to re-enter the commodity market. The national and global market over the last 18 months or so has gone through some significant changes in the recycling market, well beyond my capacity to comprehend, based on global changes in China and India and others, and what they accept and the cleanliness of the products and how they dispose of them. And those effects have come back to our communities and have created challenges in our local governments that we haven't seen in the past. We've gone from a marketplace where recyclables had value to one where in some cases we are paying to dispose of them. That's a new challenge for us to face. So you have some solid waste managers that represent you in your community, and as part of what we do as a regional commission, we try to help people communicate. And one of the ways we do that is we bring these folks together every now and then to have conversation and talk over issues that we're all facing and try to come up with ideas to help provide efficient solutions. These solid waste managers, every meeting eventually devolves into a conversation about recycling and how we can do it better and what other folks are doing well and where others are lacking in ideas and contracts and new providers. And that's just what we end up talking about every single time since I've been there over the last couple of years. We've reached a point where there appears to be political will to move forward on at least exploring a regional solution that would hopefully relieve some of that burden. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's feasible, but we've come up with a way to fund a study to be performed by SCS engineers who serves most of the landfills within our region. Currently, they've served a lot of them for a number of years. They have specific knowledge of operations, and they're also performing a study for the Clark Frederick Winchester regional landfill that we were able to piggyback on and expand to cover the entire region. We're going to look at the existing infrastructure that people have in place and ask them to think creatively about what a solution might look like for the long term of how the Northern Valley could become a leader in recycling and performing this task that there seems to be a will to continue to provide and do it efficiently and most effectively. So I don't know when we're going to get there or if, frankly, we'll find a solution. But we thought that this was an opportunity for us to step up and bring folks together and try to find one of those unique, efficient solutions. So we've negotiated a scope of work, and we are close to executing that contract. I hope to take it to my board at the next meeting to get their blessing on it before we move forward. And we will see what we can come up with. We have a steering committee made up of these solid waste managers and other staff who have engaged and want to be engaged, and we welcome support and questions and input throughout this process. I've expressed to our town managers and CAOs and county administrators that I will be more communicative than usual on this one. It seems like there's a high level of interest, so I want to make sure that folks have information rather than us doing the work that we do and handing it over as a final product. So there'll be a high level of engagement with staff at the communities throughout this process. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If not, I'll find the answers and get back to you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, if you want to know what people of Front Royal think, just Google recycling and Facebook. You'll get plenty of comments. Does anyone on council have any questions for Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Mesa?
Brandon, thank you for coming tonight
Absolutely.
and presenting. I think that's an excellent idea. I think it's a great way to pull local communities. When is the study, I know you're still wrapping it up and presenting to your board, when would be the expected completion of the study for some sort of recommendation?
Well, we know it's a matter that has some level of urgency. I would like to get it completed over the course of the next 6 months. We don't have a deadline in there because I want it to be right, not necessarily quick. I think we can achieve both, though.
Okay. I heard you say you're going to come up with a great recommendation, so I can't wait.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Brandon, in regards to the recycling, are you all going to look at the possibility of where can we get rid of the recycling? Because that's our problem. It's not the collection of the recycling, it's who will take it. And then what will happen to it after it's removed from Front Royal to another location. If it's going to be, some of it be recycled, the rest of it placed in another landfill somewhere in the state. I think that's the biggest issue that we have, because that's what's being done or had been being done in other communities. I mean, what they can sell, they salvage, but what they can't sell goes right back into the landfills of the local communities.
Absolutely, yes, sir. That is the number one priority of what we hope to look at in this. We understand that individually, we may not have enough of the commodity to make it attractive for an end user to purchase it. And we're hoping that we will find that by altering the level of preparedness of the product, we can combine those commodities to create one that it is marketable to an end user. So we put less in the landfill, more into recycling, lower the cost, and do it together. That's the hope. Don't know if we'll get there.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Great, thank you for coming out this evening.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda is a report from Warren County. Ms. Rosser?
Good evening, Mayor and members of Town Council. My name is Brandy Rosser. I'm the General Services Director for Warren County. I'm here this evening to provide the county's update for you. Development Review Committee, they last met on August 28th, discussed county projects including the Marriott Hotel, which is currently open for business, Taco Bell at Riverton Commons Shopping Center. The construction is underway on that. Crooked Run West, and a building in excess of 50,000 square feet in the Route 340-522 corridor. Town projects discussed included proposed Sheetz convenience store. Site plan is currently being worked on for that. A proposed Harbor Freight in Gateway Plaza. An update on the construction of the new hospital. Construction has obviously started on that. Plan review is still underway. And also a proposed brew pub on Water Street. The applicant is working on plans for that now. Oh, I'm sorry, Leech Run Parkway completion, the EDA is currently working with DEQ for that. The Warren County completed a tabletop training exercise for our emergency operations section leaders on August 14th. The exercise simulated a flooding disaster in the county and was intended to enhance the county's emergency preparedness in the event of a situation or disaster in the future. Participants discussed flood considerations and becoming more familiar with local EOC procedures to be used during an emergency. Special thanks to our Deputy Emergency Services Coordinator, Rick Farrell, who did a wonderful job, and all of our staff were involved in the drill. For Intergov, Tyler Technologies provided county staff with the first pass on the customer self-service implementation on August 9th. While the time frame is slightly behind schedule, the implementation was very thorough and staff had very few comments. The county still feels confident for a late September completion. Bond ratings, Warren County is one of 30 of 95 counties in Virginia that has either a AA or a AA2 or higher rating, and one of 504 of the 3,141 counties in the United States. The strong rating shows the continued strong financial position of the county. The Tourism Committee met on August 14th. The committee discussed various advertising options for golf and recreational publications. Final options for the community's wayfinding signage will be presented at the subcommittee, or to the subcommittee this week, and that project will continue to move forward. The full Tourism Committee will meet again on October 9th. Crooked Run West, the Board of Supervisors held a work session on the project on June 13th. The applicant is making changes to the proper statement and will be resubmitting the traffic impact analysis for the project. It is anticipated that a public hearing will be held by the board this fall. Warren County Public Schools, county staff assumed ground maintenance of all of school facilities on July 1st. We want to express our thanks to Crew Supervisor Brad Kresge and his Parks and Recreation maintenance staff for their efforts to get the facilities in great shape before schools opened. We'd also like to thank our General Services maintenance technicians for stepping in and covering work orders at our county facilities. For project updates, Rivermont Fire Station, H&W Construction is making significant progress. Thanks to the wonderful weather we've been having. They completed the pouring of the footers for the building last week, and it is expected to take about 450 days to complete. That puts the completion around the fall of 2020. The asphalt at the transfer station was repaved in August. We're hoping to complete striping in the coming weeks. The asphalt that was repaved was installed when the facility was constructed in 1994. Lions and Burlbrook Parks, those are two of our music park projects right now. The county received a commitment from Lorraine Holquist to donate funding to purchase music park components for both parks. The Lions Park equipment was installed in December. Burlbrooks Park should be installed this fall. One of our exciting projects we have going on right now is at Side Park, and that's our new splash pad project. County staff has completed work on demolishing the fountain at Side Park, preparing the site for the new splash pad facility. The Board of Supervisors awarded a contract at its meeting on June 4th to Sea Spray LLC, an amount of just over $94,000. The contractor is scheduled to move in later this week to start work. We hope to have the project complete by early October. Morgan Ford Bridge, VDOT has confirmed that they are preparing to proceed with the repairs to the south approach to the bridge. Due to the nature of the work and the specialized equipment, it will be necessary to close the bridge for a majority of the construction time. The only other option at this point is to wait until next summer to get the construction performed. The contract has a fixed end date of June 2020. However, there is an incentive for early completion of December 2019. So depending on weather and the progress or the process for construction, VDOT may or may not be able to open the road for short periods during construction. Rural addition and revenue sharing projects. Rocky Lane was completed as of June 28th. Ashby Station Road was completed as of July 19th. Tomahawk Way Phase 2, substantially complete as of September 6th. And that project started at the end of the VDOT maintenance on Tomahawk Way and extends to and includes short segments of Old Linden Road. Secondary road upgrade on Oregon Hollow Road. That project was completed in early September. And just the final few small projects, the airport obstruction removal project, substantially complete and is currently completing the punch list. The Rockland Park bathhouse renovation, that is currently under construction. The North Warren Volunteer Fire Station re-roofing project is going to be rebid either late this week or early next week. We have a variety of parking lot asphalting, resealing, and/or restriping projects throughout the county. Contracts have been awarded for those. And as I mentioned, the splash pad is under construction. That's all I have for this evening, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Rosso, that was an excellent report. Thank you, and thanks staff. Sorry Doug stuck you with 4 pages. Right? Does anyone from council have any questions for Mr. Rosso? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, next on the agenda was the town mobile app presentation. That item has been pulled from the reports. So the next item on the agenda is requests and inquiries of council members. Any council members have any requests or inquiries?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. T-Wall?
Going back to Mr. Walt's report on 14th Street, there's a question that I've been contemplating with Joe and others, and I haven't got really a good answer yet. The cuts that they have made on the water that are out there now, every one of them is sank at least inch, 2 inches. Are they going to all be removed and compacted properly before we put the new asphalt down?
Yeah, the cold patch is going to take that, come out to the base, it's going to go in after it's compacted.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure they do, because they'll be right back in 6 months if we don't put them in there properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. T-Wall. Any other inquiries? Okay, hearing none. Report of the interim mayor. I just have one item tonight. I'd like to introduce Kevin and Trudy Rogers.
Trudy's gonna stay at her seat.
Yeah, that's fine. So, it's not often I do this, but I did want to spotlight Kevin and Trudy Rogers with T-Tech Solutions. I wanted them to introduce themselves and also to share with the community what they're planning to do. Launching, I believe the opening is this Thursday. Still scheduled?
Yeah.
So,
Kind of soft opening, we'll do first thing on the 21st.
so mention to the council what you're planning in the community.
So, yeah, thank you, Matt, for inviting us down here. My name is Kevin Rogers. You guys who don't know me, I'm the proprietor of Infotech, actually, not T-Tech.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Old name.
Yeah.
But we are on 217 East Main Street, and we're a computer and cell phone repair shop. Over the summer, my wife kind of been looking at some different opportunities for the community and the youth in the community. So we did a little kind of test study to see what it would take to get tournaments for some of these kids to come out and actually play their games in a social environment rather than all doing it online at home. So over the summer we did these tests, and we held 4 in-store events for our, to kind of realize the utility of the facility. The 4 tournaments were held with great success, and we had an overwhelming turnout. Basically, the gaming center will support up to 12 simultaneous players, as well as virtual reality, individual support for PC and game consoles. Popular games such as Fortnite, Apex will be featured on regular events. We'll also host private parties, offer single or group play, and play by the hour as well. We've also entertained offering some of the homeschoolers some STEM opportunity to come there and get some STEM classes, and that thing was brought up this week. So it's a great little facility. It's about 450 square feet, and we just rebuilt it. It's got 12 individual stations, and we're basically going to do a soft opening this Thursday night. We have kind of an open house. It's actually the National Gaming Day or something like that, National Day of Gaming. So one of the things that we really found was interesting is that it does bring these youth out of their home, out of their TVs, and gets them in a social environment, which we all know right now is a very important aspect of adding to these youth. So we really appreciate everybody's support as they come out. We're going to also be talking to local businesses and whatnot as well, as far as how they can get involved and help sponsor some of these events for the youth and the children around.
Yeah, well, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for that briefing. And I'll tell you why I invited Kevin tonight is, first of all, I love the entrepreneurial spirit. You had some space that you wanted to convert and do something with. He had extra equipment. But what was real special to me is Kevin and Trudy embody the spirit of Front Royal. They see a need in the community to get these children out from their homes into an environment. Look, they were very candid with me when I had a private conversation with them. They're not doing this to necessarily make money. They're going to break even at best. But it's an opportunity to get the kids together and the community together and provide a service right there on Main Street. So I just want to thank you guys for doing that. I think that's real special, and I wish you luck, and I hope to be there at 5 o'clock on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you.
Infotech.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all from me. Next on the agenda is proposals for addition and deletions of items to the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions? The agenda is accepted as presented. You don't need a motion, right, Ms. Mary?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda, I entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Been a motion made by Mr. Gillespie to approve this consent agenda, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is an ordinance to vacate portions of Carter Street. This is second reading.
I move that council adopt, sorry, my mic on? Sorry. I move that council adopt in its second and final reading an ordinance to vacate an unimproved portion of Carter Street that is 136.05 feet by 40 feet, 5,442 square feet, and located between Beaton Lane and Steel Avenue that was requested from Chris Holloway to create 5 townhouse lots facing Steel Avenue, contingent upon approval of easement to the town to maintain and repair the utility mains contained in the unimproved portion of Carter Street.
Second.
Yeah, there's been a motion properly made by Ms. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Meza to approve the ordinance to vacate portions of Carter Street. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that I think over the last year we've had quite a few requests, or quite a few, maybe 2 or 3 requests along these lines. And I think the council's done a really good job of vetting out the value of the property versus the opportunity of the property. And I think that we've worked with every applicant to make sure that that we understood the opportunity and that we would make it as easy as possible for the continual development of these properties in the town. And so, so again, I think council's done a wonderful job of this. I appreciate when these opportunities come before council, and I'll definitely be voting in the affirmative for it.
Thank you, Mr. Meza. Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd like to say one thing. I've seen on social media a lot of people think that Chris got special treatment because he's on council. That is not correct. He was not involved in any of our closed sessions when we discussed this, and he was treated like we do everybody else that comes by with these sorts of requests.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Any other comments? I have 2 comments. Mr. Waltz, can you enlighten the public as far as infrastructure improvements that are planned in that neighborhood? I want to make sure there's no misperceptions out there that infrastructure is being put into place because Chris Holloway, who happens to be a member of council, is, can you perhaps tell the public what has been planned?
Sure will, Mr. Mayor. We've had the water project that we're actually got out for bid right now for Scott, Steel, and Highview. That's been on our work plan for the past 5 years. We're finally getting to it right now. The bid's out. We're going to be replacing all the water lines on Scott, Steel, and Highview. Also, we're also taking this time, being that we're going to have to repave after we tear up all those streets, putting those water lines. We're going to also take a look at the water runoff on Steel Avenue as well. It is a concern that came up during the vacation process. So we're going to be looking at that as well. As we're also going to take a look at the dead end at Steel Avenue as well. As this opportunity while we're doing the water lines and everything else before we do final paving is to take a look at that whole area. So yes, this project's been on our books for 5 years and we're finally able to get this off the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. I appreciated the comments from Mr. Meza and Mr. Thompson, and I too want to echo those comments. You know, and I said this, I believe, during the first reading. Yes, it's true. Mr. Holloway is a member of council, but yes, it's true. He's also a citizen of our community, and he was treated as a citizen of our community. There was no special treatment by anyone on staff or anyone on council, and I just wanted the public to know that he's been treated exactly the way we would treat any of you and anyone in this public that would come before us to vacate a right-of-way. With that said, anyone else have anything else to say?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and I just want to say that, yes, it's a long process and no special treatment, believe me. And I appreciate the kind words, and hopefully, when it's done, it'll be a big improvement to the area, and hopefully it'll be sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say that, Chris, you need to abstain from voting. You may want to make that.
You mean I can't vote? I know that, Gene.
Well, you should make your announcement.
Oh, I will be abstaining from voting.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments?
I did the first time.
All right, all those in favor, let's do a roll call vote, Ms. Berry.
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Abstain.
Thank you. Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Seelock.
Yes.
Councilman T-Wall.
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is an ordinance to amend Chapter 13471 pertaining to utility account payments and termination of services. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council adopt on its second and final reading an ordinance to amend and reenact Federal Town Code Chapter 134-71 pertaining to utility and account payments and termination of services in an effort to decrease the town's bad debt on utility accounts as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion properly made by Mr. Meza and seconded by Mr. Holloway to amend the Chapter 13471 pertaining to utility accounts. Any discussion? Mr. Meza? Anyone? Okay, roll call vote. Ms. Berry?
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Seelock.
Yes.
Councilman T-Wall.
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson. Yes, thank you.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is write off the bad debt for the third quarter 2019. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council approve the removal of 5 years or older of outstanding accounts receivable bad debt in the town's ledger for the third quarter of 2019, totaling $15,915.71 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion properly made by Mr. Meza, and who seconded that? I heard Mr. Gillespie seconded the motion. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's appropriate that this is following the prior motion to make some improvements to our utility accounts. This is the bad debt that we're writing off from our utility accounts, and what we're trying to do with the last motion that carried was to, essentially to hedge us a little bit better and make sure that we are not having so much to write off in bad debt. So right here, we're writing off $15,000 from accounts that we weren't unable to collect. In a perfect world, this would be a significantly smaller number. So hopefully, with some of the new requirements, this number will become less over time.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's been a long road to get this in place. We were writing off extremely high numbers and the community was very concerned about that. We decided that it was best to report bad debt on a quarterly basis, just like any normal business out there in our world. So any of our banking structures, this is what we do for the banks. They write it off with the hope, or not the hope, but after all efforts are tried to obtain the money back through liens or whatever against their salaries. And we just, when you look at, we were writing off hundreds of thousands of dollars, waiting like 5 years. And now we're going to report it on a quarterly basis. And like Councilman Mays has said, hopefully we'll reduce it even further.
Thank you, Mr. Seelock. Any other comments from council? Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Berry?
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Seelock?
Yes.
Councilman Tebow?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, that's the last item on the agenda. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a work session following this. We're going to go into our caucus room. The work session is open to the public. Should anyone wish to stay. Thank you for coming out this evening.